It is now time. You have found the place where the superstar pontificates on the purple. It is a magical zone we call Starstruck. And to get you the knowledge you deserve, you need, we bring you the superstar, Mike Morris.
Thank you, Jim. I mean, unbelievable intro. It could have gone a little longer, but that's okay.
I could go longer.
You knew you could, right?
Yeah. Well, there's so much there.
Yeah.
I mean, your accolades just go on for days.
We don't have time. We don't have time for that. We could literally be here for a day or two anyway.
Oh, the milestones, the records, the achievements,
quite a bit.
Degrees.
I haven't got
masters.
My bust in Canton yet, but
it'll be there.
Right now, I've heard they commissioned like a kindergarten class to make like a Play-Doh sort of sculpture of me, and they're going to put it on in like a milk crate in the basement.
Yeah,
at the Canton Hall of Fame, and that'll be like the long snapper wing.
Yeah, and I've been trying to find in like Goodwill one of those Century 21 gold jackets.
Yeah,
that the realtor wears.
See, and we can find a patch or something.
Yeah, we'll just put the
STP patch or something. It'll look good.
Yeah, well, we'll put it over the Century 21 patch.
Sew it right over.
Yeah,
we get something to stick that on there. Maybe a crossbow. Maybe stick it with long story.
Just go back a couple episodes. It's worth your while.
Back and go ahead and listen to that one. You'll get your money's worth out of this particular podcast. And there will be a follow-up story to that story. Hopefully, if everything goes well, we can have the victim of the crossbow incident actually come into the studio with me. He's already promised me that he would, but he's a working man, so I have to catch him with his schedule right.
I mean, why wouldn't he agree to anything you tell him after you stuck an arrow in his house?
I'm just trying to be a good neighbor. I'm trying to let him know that I understand that he's got issues. He's a working man, and that I can help him by getting the story out and getting him some attention and some gratitude that I think he deserves. Number one, because he didn't say anything negative about me shooting the crossbow through his house.
Well, because you had a crossbow. Well, I would not rip anybody who just fired a crossbow through my sliding glass door
I'm good
into the wall.
Come back and actually line up.
Right,
him in front of any wall and just take a shot at him.
Right.
So he's got a good thing going there. He understands. So and I would, but I'm just trying to be a good neighbor, and I'm holding off on just.
You're like State Farm.
Yeah. Oh, State Farm. He's in good hands.
Yes.
We used to have the State Farm team,
Oh,
good
really?
hands, the Good Hands team.
Oh,
yeah. A little onside kick recovery team.
See. Is that another accolade that I could throw out there? That you're a member of the Good Hands team?
One of the several different teams I didn't take part with. One being the offense, two being the defense, and the list goes on. Several teams I didn't make.
Oh.
I made the long snap. I made the punt team.
Wasn't that kind of, in this day and age when people can't be separated and put into other groups, did you guys feel bad when you weren't named to the Good Hands team? Like
I did.
Did you spend hours just looking at your hands, wondering why they're not good?
And I used to take better care of my hands. I would use different types of lotion, or like the Palmolive commercial with the gal that's like testing, like working the ladies' hands and stuff, and the manicures and whatnot.
The dishwashing liquid.
Yeah, and
this is dishwashing liquid.
I should be. Oh, Palmolive, what? And so I have tried to make my hands gooder. Good hands.
Yeah.
And there's no way of telling you how disappointed I've been to show up with hands that are literally immaculate, mint condition, surgically placed over the football sometimes to long snap, but I can't make the Good Hands team. What the hell? What's the difference?
Right.
Either you snap strikes or you don't snap strikes, but hands like that should be able to be on the Good Hands team.
I would think so. Did you send Denny pictures of your hands showing him how good they looked?
I'd run up to the office and knock on the door and say, "Look, how about today? How much better do you want them?
Right.
How much more gooder do you want these?"
You go get your nails done, I heard.
all the time.
So it looks better?
And you know what? The only big guy I ever remember being on the Good Hands team was a volunteer on the sidelines at Kansas City when I was with the Chiefs. We practiced pretty crisp little practice Saturday morning before we got on the plane or went and checked into the hotel. But we checked through all the special teams and then kick a ball or two, recover one, and just make sure all the people are out there. You take a head count, make sure all 11 guys reported, or it was $1,000 if you didn't know that you were on that team and you weren't out there. But there was a guy in town doing the broadcast with Dick Enberg. His name was Merlin Olsen. And
I actually know Merlin Olsen.
I'll bet you do. I think you went on a fishing trip.
I did.
Is that right?
Yeah.
With his uncle, his grandfather.
With his son.
His son.
He brought his little son along who was bigger than I was at age 10.
I can only imagine. Oh, my God. Must have been a huge kid. But Merlin decided that he wanted to be on the Good Hands team just to recover when he said, I got great hands. Just like I told the coaches, I got great hands. But no. I mean, he had a yellow jacket, so he got to be on the Good Hands team. They kick him a football. Nick Lowry tees one up. He kicks it right to Merlin. I mean, right to him. Merlin charges the football, literally jumps out and lays out for the football coming in, recovers it. We're on Arrowhead. The turf is bristly, like a brush, like a wire brush. He comes up missing both elbows. Like he scraped both of his elbows off in this huge recovery effort. And he did recover the football, and it was pretty cool because he jumped right on it and must have jumped two yards out to go and get it, okay? And I mean, it was a good recovery. Cut it clean, gets up, he's bleeding. He's bleeding unbelievably. I mean, our trainer walks out there and says, we better get something on that. That's going to get the bacteria from the carpet in there. But I've never seen more elbow left on the carpet than Merlin Olsen's. Anyway, that's my story. I don't even get to do that.
No.
You start off with good hands, now you got messed up elbows.
There he goes.
What do you want in life anyway? Is it that big a deal to recover a kick? If you're that age, you're already in the Hall of Fame, you have to go out there and do that.
No, well, they didn't go into the locker room and size him with uniform and everything, did he?
No.
What was he wearing?
No, he just wore his civvies out there.
Oh, okay.
And I think Merlin could have played still and without a uniform. I think he could have played against us, to be honest. But regardless, he got to have his onside kick. He recovered the damn thing, and he left at least a pound of hide in the Arrowhead turf. I mean, bleeding bad. You see receivers lay out for footballs, and if it's on the sideline where all the paint is on those old fields, it will scrape your doggone forearms off if you lay out for it. His weight must have been what did it so bad, though. His weight, and he just ground his elbows off. Shiny, like that, more than pink, shiny pink. So anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I got a lot of stories.
How about Mr. Rodgers? Do you want him
What neighborhood
in your neighborhood? Yes.
Yeah.
The story is out that the Vikings are saying with J.J. McCarthy, but I think that's not really a story. I think that's what the plan has been since day one, that this is his year, or else you would have gone after Daniel Jones, or you would have figured out a way to keep Sam Darnold. Just because Aaron Rodgers is available, I don't think you would veer off of that plan to have McCarthy as your QB1 to start the season. But breaking news today, Vikings are going to go with JJ, and they're telling Aaron for now, just hang tough. So they still, though, all the backup quarterbacks that are worth a salt lick are pretty much gone.
I mean, the shuffle has already taken place.
Right. So
tier guys have done the domino thing.
So this may be a shotgun wedding that they may just have to say, you know what, we got to take Rodgers because we have to have somebody.
Well, I mean, I think it's a big statement, number one, to say that JJ's a franchise quarterback day one. I don't know about that. I mean, how many people have we seen come in first pick overall quarterback not make it. In fact, turn up complete bust, right? How many times have we seen that? How many times has Baker Mayfield been passed off? How many times has the list is pretty long of quarterbacks that have not worked out, because you know what? Franchise quarterbacks don't just come out every year. They don't come out. They come out once every 5 or 6 or 7 years. Really legitimate, what you would call a franchise quarterback, someone to lead the team for a decade. How many of those do you really remember in the past? I mean, household names. You can't just line up a J.J. McCarthy and say he's the next one of those. You can't do it. I don't care what anyone says. He may be that, but he's got a lot of proving to do, and he's got to find a way to prove to his teammates and his coaching staff that he can get out there, and he's full speed. He's not hesitant when he drops back because of the knee. He's not hesitant that someone's coming around the corner and he wants to take off, and because he doesn't trust his knee or whatever's happened. He has to be over that injury mentally. He has to be over it physically and back strong, but he also has to be in the pocket knowing that he's got to take that last second before someone comes open, take a hit, more than likely, and not worry about his knee. Is he going to come back that guy? Then is he going to come in at that level that you could consider him a franchise quarterback? We're talking about someone that could just play quarterback and manage the team. That we'd probably take that right now. I mean, like a Case Keenum. We would take that right now. We don't have that with J.J. McCarthy right now. Now you throw in the Aaron Rodgers thing. Exactly opposite. 180 on the spectrum, right? From no experience at all to a first ballot Hall of Famer. No question. As good as I've ever seen play the game. 4-time MVP. He's won 1 Super Bowl. But he has become his own worst enemy. He has absolutely gotten so full of himself and so bought into all the smoke that's being blown up his tailpipe that he now thinks he's like the one and only.
Right.
And it doesn't work that way, and he should know that by now with the Jet experience. I mean, barring the injury that he took in the first season, what he did last season, he should know now. It just doesn't work like that everywhere, like it did in Green Bay. Ask Russell Wilson what happened when he went to Denver. Let's ask him what he thought. He could pull his little act down from Seattle and go to Denver and save that team. No, it's a whole different box that you open up when you walk into a team and you say, "Hi, I'm Russell Wilson. I'm going to save you," or "I'm Aaron Rodgers. I'm your answer." The chemistry is completely different, and you better come in with the right attitude and put in the time and the hours in front of your teammates to prove that you're really the guy that they want to see in the huddle. I don't know if that's Aaron Rodgers. If he was that guy that he was in his heyday, I'd take him now, right now. I would sign him right now. But if you have to worry about the baggage that comes along with him now, plus he's older. He's a lot older now. It hits. You're not the same. It's a game for younger players. It's a young man's game. He is not a young man anymore. He's 41. Is that right? Going to be 41?
Probably close to. I know he's right around 40.
He's been injured several times, concussed several times. Achilles is no laughing matter. That's one of the most serious injuries that he's taken. He took the clavicle, the broken collarbone from Anthony Barr here. I remember him missing a lot of games, but he's been beat up. And I don't know if he's got that same magic. If he was with Green Bay, I would say he could still pull out another 1 or 2 years if he'd left that alone. He could have still played 2 years from now, and I think that'd be safe to say. But just like what happened to him in Green Bay with Brett Favre, the Packers were ready to move on. So exactly. I just think it's just like one of those things where they made their decision up. We're going to go with Aaron Rodgers. Brett, you're going to have to take a plane ticket and go somewhere else. That's what he's expecting to have happen to him here. Is he expects to come in, and the Vikings have essentially told him the same thing. We're going with J.J. McCarthy. You better be looking for another team. And I think that's realistic. I think it's practical to think that way. If he was the same guy, attitude mostly, that he was when he played great football, you'd want him signed by now. It'd be too late if it went another hour. But I don't think you're getting that. That's just my thought. I don't know what you think. Everyone loves him. He's a great player. He was a great player. I don't think he's that same guy right now, and I think he brings a certain kind of attitude to the locker room, to the huddle, on the field, off the field, whatever. I don't think it's the kind of guy you want in town right now.
Here's my only concern is that what are the Vikings doing right now?
Good question.
They are putting all their eggs in, like you said, a kid who has played one preseason game.
Yeah.
And your team is loaded. You are considered a team that should contend for a division title, an NFC championship, and perhaps even the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And free agency, you've fixed numerous holes where people are saying that this team is even better than it was before with Sam Darnold walking away, who had 35 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards. He's out of the equation, yet the analysts, whatever, Pro Football Focus, whoever you want to look at, all are saying the Minnesota Vikings are a better team today than they were when they stepped off the field, and that's with no quarterback. So if you're doing all this work and you're tinkering, and now you even switched out centers, all right, we're down to that, tinkering with this team, because Bradbury was fine. I mean, he's not a Pro Bowler, but he's serviceable. He's durable. He took every single snap last year, as you talk about. That's something you don't see a lot in today's athlete. So he's kind of old school that way. So you could have survived that, but said they change out the center. But your most important part that's coming back off a knee injury, he's never played in a live NFL game in his life, and that's who you're hooking your horse to lead all the rest of these guys that are gunning for a title, and you're going to put it on a kid with no experienced backup behind him at all.
I agree 100%. I said a lot of what you just said, and I'll double down on it. I think that he could be absolutely a great quarterback.
No, but I'm just saying, take McCarthy out of the picture. Why do you not have an insurance policy? It's like you're living in the Arctic and you have one 1978 Skidoo in the backyard to get you to town.
Right.
No, I'm going to have another sled in the barn in case this one doesn't start.
That's right. Well, so that's why it was really surprising. I mean, I saw Darnold, get signed and big money, and absolutely you go on that kind of money, you go. It's a no-brainer. But then Daniel Jones, I was really sort of like, that should not have happened. That probably shouldn't have happened. Like, if the Vikings wanted to do anything in the short term to make good use of what they'd already invested in with Daniel Jones the year before, is to beef that up a little bit and keep him around for another year or so and back McCarthy. That's a pretty good athlete, Daniel Jones, and he just went to Indianapolis.
Well, for basically nothing.
14, right?
In NFL verbiage of nothing, $14 million 1 year. Okay, we'll give you 15 to sit here for another year. Sit down.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because he's going to have to win the job there against Anthony Richardson, who has great talent, but the head hasn't, adjusted to life in the NFL yet. He's got some growing up to do there, but the tools are there, so he could be sitting on the bench all year if Richardson figured it out this offseason. I would rather be behind a pure rookie and just sit back there and wait for some lull where they're going to have to sit him down and give him an opportunity, or let's hope it doesn't happen. But if he gets folded up, you got to have another car in the garage when you get in a fender bender.
If you're talking about the kind of team that they're talking about without a quarterback, as this one is an upgraded team from last year's team, that's too much to say as well. You can't say that. Anytime you change the parts in the room, the chemistry changes. I don't care if it's good chemistry or bad chemistry. There's no in-between chemistry. It's either like you got rid of a guy and replaced him with another guy that made it better, but can the guys still play well together on the field? They beefed things up. You can go out and buy 6'5", 325 pounds all day long. can those guys play football? Can they play? I mean, are they road graders like the Eagles offensive line, or are they just big guys that play decent football? Everyone's 300 pounds.
Right.
Everyone's 325. I'm hoping that Bradbury can play guard because I thought he actually improved at his game quite a bit. So you take him out the center responsibility and put him at left guard or whatever, even though, they talked pretty heavily about, oh, come on, please don't do this to me. Was it Brandell or Brandel?
Oh, Brandel. Blake Brandel.
I never know how to. Okay. Anyway, Ace is the place, right? I have trouble all over the place.
Yes.
Anyway, I want to see him play still. I think he's a good football player. Good football player. Solid. You're right. We've had centers here in the past. Kirk Loudermilk. He was solid. Didn't go to a lot of Pro Bowls, but he was tougher than nails.
Right.
And he had a lot of leadership qualities. Brandel is very much like that. They said he's a leader. I like that. I like hearing that more so than just he's a good player. He's a leader and he's a good player. Oh, that's different. That means he keeps the group together. It's more cohesive in that group of five. The new guy in, Kelly, I think from Indianapolis, he'll be a good player. I think he'll be a good player.
Well, he's been around the block 10 years. He knows what he's doing. He should be fine. And
he should be fine.
And Fries is the guy that should be pretty impressive as well.
He's a good player.
So the line, all the moves have been applauded. Let's applaud them.
I agree. Do we have any applause? Do we have any? We have no. Oh, hell, we don't.
Yeah, look at it right here. Yeah, let's hear it.
And I think that J.J. McCarthy's a good player. I think he's a good player out of college, though. That's where he was a good player. He beat Alabama, then he beat Washington in the championship game. Yeah, he's a good football player. He had a lot of pieces around him. He had a pretty good coach behind him. And, okay, but I've seen that before, too. Gino Toretta came up here, Heisman Trophy winner, and didn't play in a game. He didn't play in one NFL game. He got dealt off from here. I don't think he even made the practice squad. Heisman Trophy winner from Miami. But he had so many pieces of the puzzle around him that Jimmy Johnson, I think it was Jimmy.
I think so. I think you're right. Or was it Erickson?
It might have been Snellenberger. No, that's too far. That's way back. Snellenberger was not the
I don't think so.
Anyway, regardless, he was a good player in college, but we can't say that here at this level, and he never played. He had the Heisman Trophy in his car. And he said, I can still make money at any place on the weekends, making $10,000 a week. If I land one gig to speak with his trophy behind me on the shelf behind me, I can go speak and make money. And that's what I plan on doing. Because he didn't think he was going to make it. And he didn't.
Wow.
That's what kind of stuff is out there. McCarthy's a good player. Now he's an injured player. Can he come back from that? Number one, it's knee. That's not a gimme. That is not a gimme. So anyway, he's got a lot of proving to do. And that's the only thing. I like him. I really liked him when he came out of college. I think he could be a really good quarterback, and that's all I'm going to give him right now. That's it. We've had the Justin Fields, and we've had all the experimental. Never do you just say a guy picked top 10 players will be an impactful player and or a franchise quarterback. Pretty tough to say. Wouldn't even put my neck out there and say that if I was the head coach.
Nope.
I wouldn't even say that.
But he did.
Aaron Rodgers
last
has
year
an
at training camp.
absolute, just proven, battle-tested warrior, but I think he's past his best days. The reason he wants to be on here is because he knows O'Connell really well. Apparently they know each other very well, so that's his best ticket in because Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with his act.
No.
And I don't think he wants to go back to New York with the other team.
No.
I mean, just the press, the media, and the hype.
Well, and there's no shot at really you going anywhere. There's no potential there. This team is a quarterback away from taking it all.
Yeah.
I mean, if all these pieces gel, and we are projecting that the Vikings have as much success with their free agents as they did a year ago, where those guys, every piece they picked panned out perfectly.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Van Ginkel, we're like, oh, okay, whatever. Grenard, all right, so we're just switching out a guy for Daniil Hunter, so should be about the same, production from there. And, oh, good, we brought home one of ours, Blake Cashman, pat him on the back. We'll see you out at the Eden Prairie Mall. No, all these guys turned out to be fantastic.
Yeah. That really did add some pieces to that puzzle last time.
And so now everybody's assuming that all of these pieces, the Allens, the Hargraves, the Frys, the Murphys, the Jones, the Rodgers, we do have a Rodgers on the team.
Yeah.
All of these pieces are going to take a step up from what they were in the past.
Considered upgrades with still, and you could also say that if those other players remain on contract, that we also have depth. You could say with a Bradbury sitting in the shadows is good depth. I would say that. If Aaron Rodgers was the best version of himself, you would love him to come in here with J.J. Jefferson and everyone, Addison. They are all going to be really happy if that was the Aaron Rodgers that they had in Green Bay.
Right.
Anything could happen. That'd be like Tom Brady and Randy Moss. You'd see something like that over and over again. But I don't know, and no one else knows who Aaron Rodgers is now. I don't know. I mean, he has sort of made himself very unlikable in many ways. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But it's true. It can ruin a team. It can put a damper on a team because he's all for himself. He's not for team. He's for himself and all the attention to himself. But we'll see what happens. I mean, if O'Connell can... the one good thing about this is O'Connell is pretty good at what he does, especially at the quarterback position. And if he does know him really well and they had a great relationship, that might be the ticket. That might be the answer, is that O'Connell can reach him differently than these other people. Yeah, and I really believe that could be the one ace up O'Connell's sleeve that could actually make this a different transaction than any other team in the league picking him up right now.
Yeah.
Because Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with him.
No.
He will not put up with that.
You know what? Speaking of ace, I think that if you want an ace on your side, you don't have to spend millions of dollars like an NFL team does. You just have to walk into a certain store, and all you have to say is, "Help me." That's all you have to say. 6 letters. Help me.
Help me. God knows I could use those letters because I need a lot of help with all the different projects I've got coming up for the spring. I've got all kinds of them. We've talked about the paint before in the past, but every now and then you need to have a power tool. Like me, I'm a power tool. I lift weights and I'm a tool. So anyway, that being said, I think that everyone needs to know and understand that there are places that you could go if you wanted to pick up some really, really fine DeWalt power tools, and I'm going to tell you exactly where that is. Because I know that Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. I pronounce folks.
You hit it.
Oh, kind of.
You hit it.
FOKES is what I have to keep in my head. Not put an L in there. Don't put FOLK on that. You'll ruin it. So Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
You should have just went with the first one.
Yeah, I'll just continue on from there. Pretend I didn't say the rest of that. But that is the place you'd want to go if you were looking for power tools. We talked about paint, of course, but we're going to push the power tools now because they can get you set up. And they have so many different people, but DeWalt is the one that they're going to give you the big shout out on. Okay, there are 4 locations. We're talking about the Polici Ace Hardware stores. Okay, so you have the one in Zumbrota, you got one in Farmington, you got one in Egan, and you got one in Rosemount. Pick one of the 4, you got them. Bingo. Tell them I sent you down there. Don't waste any time. Have them show you right to the stuff that you need the most, and they'll put you right on it. They've been in the business for over 30 years, and the Polici family will take good care of you. Ace Hardware, Polici's, get there.
Beautiful. But how do I get there? What do I, when you're talking about the 78 Skidoo out in the barn in the Arctic, if I want something a little more dependable than that, is there a place I could maybe think about heading to?
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many places. And we've talked about those places before. We don't have to do that now. There's only one place. Okay? And they might be folks. They may be. Call them whatever you want to call them. I call them the Saba family. Okay, Dodge of Burnsville. Those are my guys down there. The King of Ram is down in Burnsville, and they can set you up with any need you may have in terms of, car or truck transportation, new or used. They've got everything on the lot. every color you could possibly imagine, all the equipment you could possibly want on a truck or in a car. Dodge of Burnsville can take good care of you. So don't waste any more time. Get down there and bypass all of the different trash compactors that you'll pass going down there, which are literally all of the other car dealerships in the cities. Don't do it. Dodge of Burnsville is the place to go, okay? The rest is garbage. I said so. Get on down there, 35W and Cliff Road in Burnsville. Say hi to the Sabas, Mark, and Adam Saba. Tell them the Superstar sent you.
There you go.
Boom.
All right, leave us with a thought for the day. Something that will hold these passionate purple fan base.
Just
something
remember.
to keep them straight and true for the next week.
So there are a few things that I could offer up that I think will make a difference in your life. You know, because the journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first step, okay? I said that wrong, didn't I? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step, and in darkness dwells the people which knows its anal's not. Now, look, what else do you want? Health crowns the head of the wealthy, but only the poor seem to notice it. Take care, everybody. Goodbye. No, let's just listen in on what's going to happen with the quarterback situation. Let's keep our ear on the railroad tracks and see what they're going to do. But those are bad vibes coming from any talk about Aaron Rodgers, I think. Any talk about staying with your kid in town, that's a positive, but you got to find something. The insurance policy, and that's not Aaron Rodgers. Okay, you're going to have to find something that makes sense, much the way Sam Darnold was when he came in. We didn't know it, but he became good sense, right? Money well spent. So we're looking for that, and that's really all the time that we have for you today. Starstruck, next week, same time, same star channel. And for Jim Rich, Mike Morris, and Brady Muller over here, the problem child. Goodbye. We'll see you next week.